Mania Club podcast. I'm one of your hosts. I just said my name, Munchie Panda, and of course I got Thomas T Dog. Holla holla.
What's up?
We out here, of course, the lovely Wednesday evening. It's the day before the 4th of July. So if you're listening to this, it's probably the 4th of July already or the day after. But either or you listen to this. And today we're just gonna briefly discuss just a few topics, nothing too serious, but just the Money in the Bank predictions coming up. It's in a few days. It will be, I believe, no, it's not this week. It's next week, July 13th. No, is it July 6th? Yes,
I
July
think it's,
6th.
I think it's July 6th. Yeah, I think it's this
Yeah,
week.
the day after my birthday. So happy birthday, kinda, to me. I don't know how I phrase that, but yeah. Anywho, um, yeah, so straight to it. Money in the Bank predictions here. Reading off the ladder match we got starting off. I don't think it'll start off the show. Could not. We know who knows. Jey Uso, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Chad Gable, LA Knight, and Drew McIntyre.
Okay, I've seen a lot of stuff online saying this has potential to be the biggest. This pay-per-view has been rumored to have the most interferences out of any
Oh yeah.
match. You have Punk possibly costing Drew. You have or you have Alpha Academy costing Chad. You have Wyatt Six costing Jay. You have all these people.
You know, I didn't think about the Jay part until you mentioned that because Jay's always been praising the Wyatts, but
Or the bloodline costing Jay.
yeah, I was just gonna say in general, the Wyatt could be upset at Jay for using Wyatt's name in such a vein, some alternative way to get a feud going. But yeah, no, you're right about the bloodline thing too. But the Chad Gable thing too seems like something I see.
Logan Paul could cost LA Knight.
That is 100. See, that's 100% as predictable as Clash of Castle. With Punk running in on Drew and costing him the match.
That's more. I think
More
that's more
obvious.
like I believe that's more likely than any other scenario.
Because
Unless
Logan Paul has to get his get back. It's not going to be a win overnight, but it's going to be a hey, you may have pinned me on SmackDown to qualify for this match, but I'm going to screw you and show you why you're nothing but a mid carder.
precisely.
Just one of those things. But no, overall, who do you got winning though? I mean, for me, I got Carmelo Hayes.
I also got Carmelo Hayes. I think he's the one guy that will benefit the most from it because with Andrade being speed champion, I feel like that kind of just goes to show where their stock with him is at the moment. They gave, he's a champion with a belt that cannot be seen on TV, which I think is the stupidest thing. I would love to see Jey Uso win. Jey Uso is my runner-up. Personally,
see, I disagree. Here's the thing: I agree, but I disagree. But here's why: Carmelo winning because if you look at the playing field, Jey Uso's got the bloodline that could interfere. Chad Gable's got the Wyatt Six or Alpha Academy that could interfere. Drew McIntyre has CM Punk that could interfere. Andrade has the Judgment Day that can interfere because he is technically associated, I believe, with the LWO. Maybe not. I could be wrong. But and then Logan Paul interfering on LA Knight. So in this case, Carmelo Hayes as a heel capitalizing on everyone falling down, that's money right there.
Carmelo Hayes also he's the best. He fits the briefcase holder. Like he's the one person that can be built up with this briefcase because everybody else has kind of like found their footing on the roster, right? Like
Yeah,
Carmelo, not that Carmelo's struggling by any means, but Carmelo has something. He hasn't had anything to do yet outside of a throwaway match with Cody on the night of the draft.
He pinned Cody. He pinned Randy.
That's right. He did pin Randy.
So I mean, Carmelo Hayes, like you said, with the look, it fits him. You look at the Miz, look at Dolph Ziggler, look at Edge when they had the briefcase. Remember,
Mello is money. Mello is money.
Exactly. Him and the sunglasses, the shirt. Mello don't miss. Like that whole. It's gonna be the whole. I'll be up front. It's gonna give me vibes of Austin Theory as the briefcase holder because I just can't see Carmelo holding the big one right now. I just can't, genuinely. with all due respect to anything can happen in WWE and wrestling and all that. Like, I'm not saying Carmelo doesn't look the part. I'm not saying that at all. But again, he's
I mean,
me.
to be fair, he's shown on NXT that he can carry a whole brand on his shoulders.
But look at the titles though. The WWE, I guess, Universal Undisputed Championship, and then the World Heavyweight Championship. The World Heavyweight Championship, sure, doesn't carry that much weight, but Carmelo cashing in on the big one though.
I mean, I feel like also we need to take a step back, and that Money in the Bank isn't necessarily what it used to be about 3 or 4 years ago. You
What?
know, in that, like, I mean, they've emphasized on plenty of occasions that you don't need to cash in. They've emphasized that you don't need to cash in on a world title with the contract.
Right,
I
right.
could see Carmelo Hayes cashing in on an LA Knight at SummerSlam and winning the U.S. title that way if he
doing
beats
doing
Logan.
it the right way, doing something Theory couldn't, cashing in.
Cash in on the U.S. title, and then like, because Carmelo Hayes could have pick up an amazing heel run with the U.S. title, and then feud with all these different baby faces on. Like, if you can get Mello versus Owens, Mello versus Knight, Mello versus Orton. Like, all these different guys would be phenomenal for him. Or you could totally have him pull a swerve and cash in on a Raw belt.
That would be interesting. Cash in on Gunther.
Cash in on Gunther or cash in on whoever wins the Intercontinental Championship at the time. I think he is the one person, at least in the sense of a Money in the Bank contract holder. He makes the most sense as of this moment. I would love to see Andrade win it too.
That would be. It would be weird. It's like last year when Butch was or Pete Dunne, respectively, was in the Money in the Bank. Pete Dunne, you knew he wasn't going to win, right? You knew he wasn't going to win. But Andrade's kind of in that spot, I think. Respect. Again, I'm not saying Andrade's a bad talent anyway, but you know what I mean? Andrade's in that spot where he's in the Money in the Bank match just to be a spot fest kind of thing.
Yeah, but also Andrade is also, he's a former NXT and United States champion too.
Right,
So
right. Again, I'm not taking away from him at all. I'm just saying, genuinely speaking, like he feels like he's a filler in he's just there to fill up a spot. You know what I mean? Like Santos was last year. Again,
true.
or Pete Dunne. Again, I'm throwing out names. I'm not saying these guys are bad or didn't deserve a spot, but it's like throwing in a high flyer or two in a ladder match just to kind of get a fest going. You know what I mean? Just for spots because you want it to be talked about. You know what I mean?
No, I
But
agree.
enough of the men's ladder match. We're gonna move on here with the women's. Io Sky, Chelsea Green, Lyra Valkyria. Is it Valkyria or
It's Valkyria.
Valkyria? Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and Zoe Stark. I'm saying it right now. Chelsea Green or Tiffany, I don't mind winning, but Tiffany definitely should win it.
I think it should be Chelsea.
You see, and Chelsea Green would work. I would see. I don't have a problem with it. I just feel like like she can make it a whole gimmick. She can run
Tiffany
with.
Tiffy in the Bank could be a whole thing.
Thank you, but also
Tiffy
Chelsea,
Tiffy Tiffy in the Bank, but Chelsea Green running around with the women's championship and retaining through the most absurd shenanigans.
oh my gosh,
Chelsea Green deserves it, and I think could pull off the. She could pull off more create. Chelsea Green could have more creative. Um, sorry, let me restart my thought process. Chelsea Green can show more of her creativity with the briefcase, I think, than Tiffany can. Like, that's not a knock on Tiffany. I think Tiffany is for sure gonna be, in my opinion, the next Charlotte Flair, but we will get into that. I think she's in that spot, but I don't think she needs it now, especially since she's only been called up for about 2 months.
oh true. The time frame still, yeah,
Or
or
not
more
2 months, not 2
eliminate.
months, more like 5. But like, she's still fairly green compared to the rest of the people in the match. They have a rocket strapped to Lyra Valkyria's back, and I'm here for it. I think she's fantastic. I don't see her winning it. I see her being the one to grab it, and then someone comes up from behind, throws her off the ladder, and actually grabs it.
Oh dear.
You know, like it's very similar to what they did with LA Knight last year about how LA Knight was going to grab the briefcase, and then Priest snuck up from behind, chokeslammed him, and grabbed the case.
Well, yeah. I mean, Tiffany. Like I said, I'm all for Chelsea or Tiffany. The heel's got a clean house tonight with the last briefcase. A heel runs better with the briefcase. It's common sense.
The last good babyface to have a briefcase was Big E.
That okay? Yeah. I want to throw that out there. That wasn't that bad actually. Yeah, I like that.
Big E was good, and then also the only good baby faces that have held it also cashed in on the same night. So
Dean Ambrose.
Dean Ambrose, Bailey, you know, Liv Morgan.
Do what they gotta do. Notice how most of them you said were women.
Oh, yeah, because it wasn't until last year that they actually let the women's Money in the Bank holders hold it for more than 2 hours.
I was gonna say, what's her name? Carmella. She held it up until
She has the longest. She has a singular longest. I think tenure with the briefcase. I think it's her, or it's Seth, or it's Edge. Or not Edge. I think it's Dolph. I think it's Dolph. I think it's Dolph, Seth, or it's Carmella. I think it's Carmella though, for sure.
It could be Edge too, because you got to consider too. They all did it 3 months before they won it. The people you just listed. So
yeah,
pretty interesting to know. I do want to say, yeah, Lo, that's again the ladder matches with women. They gotta let them hold it a little longer. More than 2 days. Anywho, a last chance match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Basically, if Priest wins, standard Rollins can't challenge Priest as long as he's the champion. And then if Rollins wins, Priest is leaving Judgment Day. Finn was pretty pissed about this on the most recent Raw, but yeah, Priest walking in as champion into Canada. Interesting crowd. Seth Rollins.
All right. Let's get your take. Let's get your take. What do you think is going to happen in this match?
Honestly, I think the Judgment Day are going to inadvertently cost Priest, and Rollins is going to become World Heavyweight Champion. And this is going to lead to a feud down the road between all of Judgment Day. And maybe, just maybe, there's a rematch in between SummerSlam and Money in the Bank before it's Gunther versus Rollins, where Priest faces Rollins one more time. But yeah, ultimately, I think this is not the end of the Judgment Day, but the the end of Damian Priest in the Judgment Day. And I think Liv Morgan's going to be a foil in it all. A plan.
No, I think I can see that happening for sure. I feel like because if, like, we've talked about this is basically whoever wins this match is going to be the one to go face Gunther at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Damian Priest is not beating Gunther at SummerSlam. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. So for Seth to say that he'll never challenge Damian is just it's an empty stipulation in my opinion. Now, two things will happen. Seth, like you said, Seth will, beat Damian, and it'll cause the rift in the Judgment Day and all that other stuff. Or tinfoil hat on.
Oh God.
Seth Rollins has the match won. He has Damian Priest hit him with a super kick, hit him with the pedigree. He sets up in the corner, revs himself up for the stomp, and then the lights go out.
Oh God.
Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six show up.
Oh shit.
To cost Seth Rollins, because I want you to take a trip down memory lane for a second. Who is single-handedly responsible for derailing the Fiend's
Seth
momentum.
Rollins, the Hell in a Cell, 2019. If you don't know, folks,
And I hope you don't.
avoid the match. Just don't even watch it.
It is single-handedly one of the worst matches of the 2010 decade. Seth Rollins is responsible for killing all the momentum, and not Colby Lopez, the person. I'm talking about the character and how it was booked. Seth Rollins is responsible for killing the Fiend's momentum and sending the Fiend down a really dark course of horrible booking decisions, and so on and so forth. What if the Wyatt Six's first objective is to go after the man that triggered the downfall of Wyndham Rotunda in a storyline sense?
I mean, yeah, because we know it's Bo Dallas and he's avenging his brother. That works.
And also, Seth is a good guy to put the Wyatt Six over and not get hurt from as a result of it.
No, you're right. I mean,
so that's my I have been right about certain long-term things. I predicted the tag team championship match at WrestleMania. I predicted the 6-man tag match at this pay-per-view.
okay, settle down, Mark.
I believe that the Wyatt Six's first victim will be Seth Rollins, and I believe they will go after him at Money in the Bank. And it also gives Priest a little bit more credibility because he will go over Rollins, and he can say that he beat Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre, and Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight
I was going to say
Championship.
Damian Priest would have won by interference once again.
That's not going to save him from Gunther. It's not going to save him from Gunther.
No, bro.
But,
Oh my god! Imagine the Judgment Day just tries to interfere in his match, and one by one, he's just chopping fools one by one.
Gunther's going to kill everybody in that match.
I was gonna say he's gonna kill everybody.
Poor Carlito.
Bro.
The man...
Oh my god, Carlitos! Okay, I'm calling it now. Mark it right now. Carlitos gonna take 3 power bombs from Gunther. In anything, it could be on Raw, SummerSlam, whatever it is. He's gonna take multiple power bombs. He's gonna be the bump guy. But no, great match that I'm sure is going to happen. But yeah, that's an interesting take. I didn't know that. That's nice. And then your favorite guy, and I think
boy,
the Continental Champion of all time, Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker.
I love my boy Sammy. Sammy is my favorite wrestler in WWE at the moment.
See, it's interesting with Sammy,
but he has to lose.
I can see him winning though.
I don't. It doesn't make sense for him to win in dominant fashion or legitimate fashion against Braun Breaker.
Maybe get lucky with a roll up.
Maybe a roll up.
Because Braun is so like the way you've seen him, right? He's so, I don't want to say he's unhinged. You know what I mean? Like
he's headstrong. He's overly headstrong, and he's not.
He's a type where if you watch wrestling enough, you can know that he's the type that will get rolled up easily, and you know what I mean? Like be like, what the fuck? Like what? You know what I mean?
I could see him doing. The only reason why I think that Sammy needs something different to do, and unfortunately, I believe they just kind of killed. They really Sammy right now is having, I think, the weakest showing of all the champions right now on the main roster, singles champions on the main roster.
Why?
Because he was in the background with the story with Chad Gable. The real story with Chad Gable.
Chad Gable, no.
The real story, no, hold on. The real story with Chad Gable was about him winning the Intercontinental Championship and whether or not he could get Alpha Academy to rally up with him. It didn't matter that it was Sammy or whatever. And Sammy himself was so far removed from that, for him to just get a pin on Chad Gable, because the story was about Chad Gable and Alpha Academy. It really wasn't about Chad versus Sammy.
Yeah.
And so Sammy has just kind of been floating around. He's had a couple matches with like Bronson Reed and Bronson Reed you know
Bronson Reed.
and Bronson Reed. And so I think that this would be a really good, like, you could get a good series of matches out of these two. I think like having a rematch at SummerSlam for the Intercontinental Championship, I think that's a really good showing. That's a really good having a rematch at SummerSlam for the Intercontinental Championship and solidifying by putting Braun Breaker over. I think that's a really good strategy, and then Braun can go on a tear with the Intercontinental Championship, not necessarily to the extent of Gunther, but basically prove that he can be a champion. So once he eventually loses it, he can go to the next stage and challenge for whichever world title that he ends up going after.
No, yeah, Braun Breaker's a certified future world champion. I'm just gonna say.
Because something we also got to figure out too is if Gunther's winning the World Heavyweight Championship, he's going to need viable contenders.
Mm-hmm.
And Jey Uso, he's going to have a match with Gunther. They're going to revisit that. Priest may get a rematch if he's lucky. Sammy right now on the Raw roster, and maybe Seth are the only two with legitimate claim to challenge Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. That being, Seth is the longest reigning champion, and Sammy is the only person to pin Gunther on the main roster.
Yeah, clean too. Oh, yeah.
But anyway, that was a whole tangent and a half. But I do think that this is going to be match of the night. This or the men's ladder match are going to be match of the night. But this match is going to go insane, and I am here for it.
I'm ready. No, yeah. I mean,
Sammy's going to get cut in half about 5 different times from 5 different spears. Braun Breaker's going to make the top rope fly off the apron, fly off the turnbuckles from how fast he runs back and forth.
oh shit, yeah, that speed shit, bro. That man can clock at least 20 miles per hour. I think it was 23 miles per hour on the rope. So I mean, imagine saying, "Oh my god!" If Sammy tries to go for a haluva kick and Braun just ducks it and bounces off the rope so fast, Sammy's like, "What the fuck?" and then gets speared. That I could accept that. Moving forward, the 6-man tag team match. We assume it's gonna be Solo, Tungaloa, and Tamatonga, MFT Tamatonga, which we don't know the MFT stands for, versus Orton, KO, and Cody. Straightforward 6-man tag team match, no title on the line. Sometimes people get pissy about not having the main championship on the line, but we already have a world title, so it's all good. But
Cody's defended it enough.
yeah,
I
say
like we don't need one title defense every 6 weeks. I think is fine.
no,
And if you look at the sheer volume of live events and pay-per-views they've done since WrestleMania, it's absurd.
yeah, no, I totally agree. And so, like I said, this is one of the breather rooms where you're like, you know what, Cody's got shit to deal with. He's probably gonna face Solo at SummerSlam. That's another podcast for another day. But 6-man tag team match. Obviously, the Bloodline's going over.
Yeah. Love my boy Kevin Owens. He's eating the pin, unfortunately. It has to be. He's gonna. The thing. I understand that's the whole point they're trying to get across is that Solo is pretending to be the tribal chief and that he's trying to step up and lead the way Roman did, and I understand that. I just I don't I roll my eyes every time I see Solo on TV, and it's not a disrespect to Solo. I don't know his real name. Something Fatu, because they're all Fatus or Tongas or
Tongas.
Or Anawahi. But he's
Joseph Yokozuna
Joseph
Fatu.
Joseph Fatu. Okay, so yeah. I have no disrespect to Joseph Fatu. But I just I don't I understand. I think Solo is an interesting character. I think having him be the cannon fodder for every babyface that Roman went up against all throughout 2023 was a horrible mistake. If this is what they were going to do with him,
He got his ass whooped every time.
he got his ass whooped. He had one victory over John Cena, but other than that, that's all he did. So I think that he it's just like it's very hard to take someone who was essentially booked to job to every babyface as the top dominating heel on probably positioned as the top heel in the company at the moment.
Surprised. It's just because he's replaced Roman though, allegedly.
Yeah, and I think I think that plays into it that he's trying to replace Roman. He's trying to he's taken the throne for himself despite never actually inheriting it. And I think that's like it lends that story itself. The story lends itself really well to that. But I believe this is going to main event for one reason and one reason only. I think we're getting Roman Reigns back this Saturday. This Saturday, yeah,
Dude,
we're getting. I believe we're getting Roman Reigns back this Saturday.
that's interesting.
Because they got to start setting up his match at SummerSlam if that's when he's coming back.
Imagine Roman misses SummerSlam.
I mean, honestly, the man physically and emotionally and mentally, I imagine, is going a lot with his, father passing
Yeah.
recently, and the man is still struggling health wise. Like, I get it, but I feel like if he's going to come back, they're going to start laying the groundwork soon. It is kind of really interesting because around WrestleMania, everybody was talking about it's going to be Seth versus Roman at SummerSlam. That's the match. And now that we're here, it's like, oh, Seth and Roman are so far removed from each other that it doesn't really make sense. Like, I saw someone online saying, what if Roman is the one to cost Seth? I'm like, it doesn't really make sense. It makes sense in the moment, but like,
Honestly, wait, hold on. That sounds like money. If he cost Seth for costing him his title, and now Seth can never challenge for the title ever again, and they have a match at SummerSlam, bruh, that's gonna be lit.
I feel like Roman cares more about Paul Heyman than he does Seth at the moment.
And the bloodline, yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's what I'm saying, and I think that like eventually will. It's just like they're going in a direction where like Seth versus Roman, it makes sense, but I think it makes more sense for Roman to tie a little bow on this thing with Cody and the bloodline.
wow. Okay, so we've seen 6-man tag team matches break down, like the last minute of the match. Give me the sequence of what you think is gonna happen that leads to the finish. Go.
Oh, I think we're gonna get Cody Cutter. I want to see Randy do a Cody Cutter. I want to see Randy springboard with Cody off the rope, and then they both hit the Gorillas of Destiny, the Tongas, with Cody Cutters. I think that'll happen. I think something's going to get involved. Jacob Fatu is going to get involved and cost Cody. And then, shenanigans. Kevin Owens going to eat a Simone spike. That's going to be the closing segment of the match.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, specifically, I had this mental breakdown in my head. Randy's going to RKO like Tonga Loa. Tama Tonga's going to hit him with his own version of a finisher. Like, I believe an RKO finisher, but something like it.
Yeah, because Tonga's used to be like a cutter, and then I think he switched it to now it's like the rolling flatliner or something like that.
Yeah, so he's gonna hit a rolling
like the little Jimmy that he uses or something like that. But
then Cody's gonna hit Crossroads on Tama, and then he's gonna try for a Crossroads on Solo, maybe some sort of rough bump. Jacob Fatu is 100% coming in and gonna hit a splash on Cody. Maybe Cody's gonna hit a Crossroads. Jacob Fatu comes in with a splash, while Cody's hitting the Crossroads. That'd be crazy, but I don't think it would happen. But either way, Jacob's getting involved, and then Solo gets the pin over Cody, justifying his match for SummerSlam. Because here's the thing: you can hate Solo, you can say whatever you want, you can say he's undeserving, but the way you see it is this: if you pin the top champion in the company in a 6-man tag team match, whatever, you should be getting a title match regardless. That's how it's been standard of.
Yeah, I think the final closing moments of the match is Cody. It's going to end like every Cody bloodline match ended with him. He's going to try to hit Solo with the 3, He could very well even eat the pin too. I mean, he
No,
could.
that's what I'm saying. I think because you said something about KO, but I'm thinking that's gonna justify if we're going off the rumors. That can justify why Solo versus Cody happens. Solo pinned Cody, and he thinks he's better, and maybe Cody comes back saying you're not. You think you're Roman, but you're not, and hell, that leads to their match. And I wouldn't hate that. I know some people will be like, "Oh, that doesn't make sense." Still,
No,
yeah,
because it legitimizes Solo. It
it
legitimizes.
legitimizes, yeah. If you pin the world champion in WWE history, wrestling history, wherever, they always brag about pinning the world champion in a tag team match, regardless if they had assistants or not, or it wasn't one on one. So when you do that, you kind of boost the favor in your odds when thinking about the SummerSlam match for Solo versus Cody. Now, that main event, I could see Roman returning for, but it would be interesting to see where they would have the first match or who's going to be the first match, etc., that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I could see that happening because what I can see happening is Cody has Solo, sets him up for the Crossroads Trinity, one Crossroads, two Crossroads, ref bump, and then Jacob Fatu like low blows him or something and costs him, and then Solo covers him and pins him. I can see that definitely happening.
Nah, Jacob's too savage to do a low blow. Let's be real. Like he gives you a Umaga vibes. Like, can you imagine a monster giving you a low blow? Like, come on.
He's gonna do something to Cody. He's gonna do that little dance that he did when he walked out of SmackDown the other day.
He's gonna stun him right there. He's like, what? What? What's going on? Do the little dance that Cody's daddy did, Dusty. Little shake and bake kind of thing. But no, that 6-man tag team match is gonna steal the show. I estimate it's gonna go 30 minutes just because WWE likes to do that nowadays.
It's gonna go like 50 because of
Oh my God,
entrances.
don't say that. Okay, and minus entrances and plus the finish, say 40. And I only say that because if you're thinking Roman Reigns could return, that could be a moment. But again, I'm still adamant that Solo gets the pin over Cody. Cody versus Solo. Cody retains at SummerSlam versus when they fight each other, and Roman comes out. It's like Lesnar returning a couple years ago, and he just stared down Roman. Roman comes down, but he's outside the ring staring down the two, and you don't know who he's staring at. You just fart?
Yeah. No.
Oh, I don't know if that was, it just
No.
sounded like a potential fart, but
Wait. This
no,
rolling around in my chair right now. I don't know if that's what you said. That's what you're hearing.
man, no, I don't think it was. It could be that, but I don't know if you're gonna be able to make that noise again. But no, but Money in the Bank though, that's pretty much just a interesting setup for the predictions. I'll just say it like that. It's very interesting. Potential for a
I
great
agree.
show.
No, it's gonna be killer. I think this is gonna blow Clash of the Castle and King of the Ring out of the water.
Those pay-per-views felt like they were 2 weeks apart. So to be fair, as long as they keep pay-per-views 4 to 6 weeks apart, that's good. Keep us hungry.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've heard rumors that they're gonna do, or I've seen rumors that they're gonna do after Bash of Berlin that they're gonna bring back Bad Blood, possibly.
See, Bad Blood's a good one.
Instead of like Hell in a Cell, which would be pretty sick.
Bad Blood's good because it doesn't force you to have a Hell in a Cell stipulation. So with Jacob Fatu, he's literally made an impact in the greatest way possible. And I know others have said this, but the way he just took out the 3 top baby faces on SmackDown was intensely incredible. That was like, I mean, we've seen stuff like that before. I'm not saying he had the greatest debut ever, but you know what I mean when I say like he had the most impactful or one of the most impactful. Like,
He looks like a monster.
yeah, he literally took
he
on.
looks
Yeah,
he looks and feels like a monster, and it's something that like I haven't like his presence is something The only thing that's been comparable to him, I think, was maybe Braun Strowman back in 2017. That's the only time that I've ever like seen a wrestler in recent memory that I've been like, this dude, he's gonna fucking kill somebody, and like he's so good. He's like with every like even with just a little bit that we saw, like there's reports, air quote reports that the reason why they've been holding off on his debut for so long is because they're worried that he's going to outshine Solo.
The thing is, though, here's the thing, and I don't want to take away from what you just said, but when Solo debuted and was wrestling for a few months in main roster on SmackDown, people thought he was the next Umaga or like being chaotic like him. Now he just looks like a little rolled up bitch. And now we got Jacob Fatu coming out, and he's the real Umaga. You know what I mean? Like, it's just he's the real like person that you can say that wow, he really is like Umaga. He legitimizes the role. Like, he's a monster, and he can do all this crazy shit too.
He would be a phenomenal challenger for Cody.
And the thing is, I'm just waiting to see him, I don't know, in the Rumble. Like, I mean, he's going to have matches between now and the Rumble for sure. I just want to see him, whenever someone debuts, this is me personally, whenever someone debuts in the summer or after WrestleMania or just after the Rumble and they're on the roster consistently, I can't wait to see them in the Rumble. You know what I mean? I'm still disappointed.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still disappointed Solo hasn't been in the Rumble yet, but I don't know. It's just,
bro,
it's something.
You're talking about the Rumble. I want to see Jacob Fatu in the Elimination Chamber.
Okay, see, that is gonna be oh my, dude,
he will be climbing.
bro.
He will be climbing to the top of the pod and doing like corkscrew sentons.
I was gonna say, people need to know. People who just watch SmackDown or main roster, please. I don't watch indie stuff a lot, trust me. But Jacob Fatu, you need to watch this man. This man has been in so many fucking. I mean, I don't want to say so many, like he's been in everywhere. But the point I'm trying to make is he's been through extreme types of wrestling. You know what I mean? He can do.
This man has made a name for himself by not being in like New Japan, TNA, Ring of Honor, AEW.
Was he in CCW? I could be wrong.
I think MLW.
Yeah.
I think is like the big one that he
that
was
was
in.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? 2 years ago, even last year, people were like, Jacob Fatu should debut and fight Roman for the Bloodline spot. You know what I mean? The Tribal Chief. And when you mentioned earlier, I mean, we spoke about this off air too. Jacob Fatu could very well join Roman and the Usos and be face and just be a person that Roman maybe sent, to spy on Solo. But I kind of looked down on that fact a little bit because Solo was smiling when Jacob came out of nowhere. But again, Solo may know who Jacob is and was happy to see him, but Roman is the one who sent him. So it's kind of like knowing who your family is, but knowing how dangerous they are. And maybe Solo didn't call for Jacob, but he's out here. And knowing Solo, he probably doesn't want to be made to look like a fool. So he's probably calling everything like he did everything. You hate me, don't you?
I don't hate you.
No, you're good.
All right, grabbing some water.
No, but yeah, Jacob is gonna make an impact on the roster. I'm excited. I'm very excited.
He's going to be great. I wish we got a little bit of bloodline representation in the Money in the Bank ladder match too. If I'm being honest, to kind of like get their hands into a little bit of everything. Like Solo would have been a great contender for the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Oh, having the bloodline interfere?
No, just having Solo as a participant.
I would have said having the bloodline interfere would have made it much more heelish.
True.
But oh man, I don't know. That's just what I don't think Solo's even have besides John Cena, yeah, that one-on-one match at Crown Jewel. Solo hasn't had a one-on-one match though in pay-per-view.
Yeah. It's all been tag team matches.
I don't know. Guess I wish he had more though. All right. Any more to talk about, Senor?
No, I got nothing else to add.
Bet. Well, folks, that does wrap up the Mark Mania Club podcast episode tonight, of course. But yeah, like I said, and like we said, I don't know, Money in the Bank, SmackDown, Raw, everything's gonna be intense this week coming up. So just be on the lookout. But at the same time, we got Bash in Berlin. I think is it? I don't know if it's later this month or
Oh no, it's SummerSlam then Bash in Berlin.
SummerSlam. Okay, so SummerSlam, yeah, Gunther's gonna win, and then we're gonna have Bash in Berlin, and that's where Gunther's gonna retain. So, interestingly enough, this is gonna be an interesting lineup for the summer pay-per-views. Did not see that.
Indeed.
All right, folks. Well, of course, it does include the Mark Mania Club podcast. Of course, one of your hosts here, Munchie Panda, and of course, the other one, T Dog Thomas, of course, the lovely one. And yeah, we are out here tonight. And don't forget to peep more episodes coming out. Still got the New Japan episode we're working on. We'll peep that. It's going to be I want to say my first full length New Japan pro wrestling match. So that's going to be an interesting take. And then we got the Forbidden Door review coming out. That's going to be I don't hate Forbidden Door, but we discussed this off air again. It's just so long, but you got to do what you got to do, right? And Swerve versus Osprey, it's a great match. So I can say that right now. Just a little taste for what's going to be happening for the review. You got anything to add?
Enjoy your summer vacation. Eat your vegetables and listen to your parents.
And happy 4th. If you're listening to this.
And happy 4th.
Happy
America B Day.
I thought you said happy American Happy BJ Day. My bad. I heard that wrong. Anyway, folks, you take care. Have a great night, y'all. Woo!
Peace.